Human Weaponry Demonstration. A story by user TunnelRat. Garrick looked at Thomas. From what I could tell of human emotion, he looked like he was contemplating something. He faced me, now with the rifle held pointed down. I have no problems with you trying some of these, but I think we should start with the handgun first. They have less recoil. Normally I would have scoffed at the idea that I would have any trouble with a hand weapon. However, having seen and felt the power of just one human firearm, I wasn't so sure. I was excited to try, but I also became plagued by visions of the recoil breaking my arms. Sergeant Garrick moved over to what looked like lockers for storage. This was the first quiet moment I had, so I took the time to examine his military dress. He seemed to be wearing a uniform designed for combat. He was wearing a light undersuit with soft patterns of different shades of green and brown. He looked to be wearing black heavy boots. By far the most interesting part of his dress is the plate armor. They are numerous, 2 plates for each leg moving halfway up. The plates connect to the boot, with a joint halfway up for the knee. The largest plate, or set of plates, is the chest piece. It covers the entire chest and back, with a few intersecting plates, most likely for flexibility. There are plates for each shoulder, which are made up of 2 pieces connected by a joint so the arm can move up and down. 2 small plates rested on the human's arm joints, which made sense. Joints are famously fragile. Finally, the human has 2 metal sleeves on his forearms, which connect to a small plate covering the back of the hand. The human also had black fabric coverings over his manipulators, or hands. There looked to be a hard material covering the many moving parts of his fingers. He is wearing something around his waist that is connected together with a clasp at the front. Multiple items were connected to it. A holster for his sidearm, some large pack on the back, and many pouches on the front which looked to be the right size to hold the magazines they mentioned. These same pouches exist on the front of the chest plate. So much ammunition storage. I assume that, if in combat, he would also be wearing the full face cover helmet that I saw. But now he was wearing some sort of hard fabric article on top of his... You can start with one of the 9mm handguns. If you have no problems with this, then we can move up to the larger ones. That sounds like a good idea. I'd prefer not to seriously injure myself just trying to satiate my own curiosity. As he rummaged through the locker, I took a look at the other human, who was now writing something down on a rectangle electronic device about the size of his forearm. This individual is obviously not military. He is wearing a long white overcoat. In fact, the majority of his clothing is white aside from his light blue pants. They just seem like something a civilian would wear. I had been so mesmerized by the weapons that I hadn't noticed how every piece of clothing the humans were wearing seemed to have a function. He has some kind of glass pieces in a frame over his eyes. I think I will ask about them. Mr. Thomas? He, a little startled, looked up from his device. Yes, Ozus? What are you wearing over your eyes? Oh, you mean my glasses. Yes, the 2 lenses you're looking through. They correct my vision. Humans often are born with relatively good vision, but many of us are born with various conditions that limit vision. I myself have one called hyperopia, which means I can clearly see things far away, but not so well things that are close up. These lenses fix my vision so I'm able to read. Confusing. They had clearly very advanced technology, but they resorted to the simple, fragile glass to fix it? I must make a mental note that vision problems are a common problem among humans. My own species has what I can only assume is much better vision. Are there any other ways you can treat vision conditions? Oh yes, many ways. Glasses are just the easiest way, and I think they're comfortable. Additionally, many people wear them to supplement fashion. The second most common way is called contacts, which are lenses like those on my glasses except much smaller. They are pressed directly onto the eye. Lastly, there is something called laser eye surgery, which involves a laser directly manipulating the shape of the cornea in order to correct whatever mutation caused the bad eyesight. You have a laser go directly into your eye? One that is powerful enough to manipulate it? How is that a good idea? How could that possibly help anything? Look, Oziz, I'm not a medical doctor. I cannot explain exactly how it works. If you'd like, we could have one of the ship's medical staff come talk to you. After saying that, Thomas went back to writing something down on his piece of tech. Garrick had appeared to find what he was looking for and walked back to me. He had what was clearly a firearm in his hand, but smaller than the others. In his other hand, he had a magazine. Okay, so I'll explain how to use it. Firstly, the safety rules. Rule 1. Garrick paused as he looked at my hands. They were different from his. I only had 3 manipulators to their 5, and mine were much longer. Always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Do not aim the weapon at anything you are not willing to destroy. Always treat the weapon as if it is loaded. Be aware of your target and what is behind it. Treat the weapon with respect. It is more than capable of killing everyone here. I'm fascinated. All these rules were clearly premeditated. No doubt the same as what he had been told the first time he used a firearm. Now, how to use it. First, you take the magazine and insert it into the bottom here. Then what you do is pull back the slide, which is the top section of the pistol. This puts a round in the chamber. Once this happens, it is ready to shoot. You do not need to pull the slide back for subsequent shots, as the energy released by the expanding gases of firing pushes the slide back and loads another round. In order to shoot, you flip the safety switch here, then you aim and pull the trigger. You understand? Yes, it all makes sense. How do I aim? He held the weapon up and pointed to 3 raised pieces, 2 at the back, 1 at the front. You line up these 3 dots in your sight so that what you're trying to hit is in the middle. Rifles are easier to aim, but you can try them when we know they won't hurt you. He handed me the weapon. It was lighter than expected. We walked towards the target range. As I did, I was told, although slightly awkward, it was clearly not made for my biology. I was able to load it. I pulled the slide back, which was more difficult than I expected, and brought it up to shoot. Hold on, try leaning forward a bit. You want to be in about the same position you'd be in if you were being prepared to be pushed by something. I braced myself, held up the weapon, tried to aim at the target, and pulled on the trigger. I didn't fall over, my arms didn't break, but gods, this thing kicked hard. I also missed the target, but I'm not too concerned. The chemical propellant burned my eyes and nose. It hurt my wrist joints, and it was awkward for me to use. And I loved it. So exhilarating, it felt like you were actually throwing the projectile. Plasma weapons had no recoil. I had never experienced anything like it. I looked over at Garrick, who had his teeth bared. Although I had learned this was how humans communicated they were happy, I wanted to show him how much I enjoyed it, so I attempted to replicate the smile. He laughed. Enjoyed that, huh? Very much so. It's incredibly satisfying to shoot. You can keep going if you like. It has 9 rounds left. I want to try that one. I gestured to the rifle on the table. Garrick smiled. Alright, I'd recommend you keep it on semi-auto when you try. Full auto causes more recoil. What's full auto? If you're new here, welcome aboard. Check out the description for the story, and join the Discord if you like. Consider supporting the channel and the author as well. It's a dangerous world out there, but remember to be brave and look up to seek the stars.